Hello, and welcome back to Charles Blevins. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about my history. So, when I was younger, I went into the Marine Corps uh, in the mid 90s because a few people, older people, talking to them, they talked about their memories of being in the military and that it was a lot of fun for them. So I decided I had nothing else better going on for me. And I said, why not? So I went ahead and joined. Didn't, I wasn't picking anything or any particular reason. I didn't know what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do with my life. And so it was a good starting point for me. So from there, by the time I got to my first unit, I called that my spiritual unit, and it taught me a lot. Um, the Marine Corps taught me how to get out of my own mind, or because what happens is when you go out and you're sitting in the cold mud and it's raining and you're drenched, you're miserable. So if you're mentally right there, then life is going to suck and it's going to be very miserable for you. But if you can get out of your mind and find somewhere else more enjoyable to be, it makes it a lot more easier than just in the cold, being wet, muddied, and being aggravated. So they always told us it's 90% mental and 10% physical. And I've I've kept that with me for most of my life, that everything is more mental than physical. There is a time that maybe it is more physical if your body breaks down, but for someone who's in good health, good shape, it's probably more mental than physical. So understanding these rules have allowed me to push myself beyond my normal limits of understanding who I am. And I was able to use these techniques that they were teaching me later in life. So after I left the Marine Corps, I went into venture capital technology during the late 90s. It was a boom on technology, and I went into the investment side and dabbled into a little bit of startups, and I enjoyed it, but I realized that it's very risky and very dangerous for most investors, um, especially at the very beginning stages. You can you're taking a big gamble on a company making it, and you can also lose a lot real quick. From there, me and my wife sold everything off. After that, I took a big gamble. We lost a lot, and we decided to start over from scratch. So, craziness. We bought a bus conversion, and we moved from California all the way to Florida, where we took our last $1,500, $2,500, and we opened up a computer store repair shop. From there, we had no other money, no money for rent for the next month, no money for food. The next, after a few days, we were completely broke with two kids. And what I found was is that people are really kind and really good. They kept me in business. We went through three hurricanes, and my wife said, "Oh no, I can't do this anymore in Florida." So my father offered me the family home. It's a beat up old house, but it's been in the family for quite a few generations. He was having medical issues and he needed to get rid of it. He wasn't living in it, he was just renting it out and it was falling apart. So I went in and bought it out from him. I probably paid way more than the average house at the time, and I thought I'd never get my money out of the house. Um, but it was knowing that he needed a home or he needed money, and my wife no longer wanted to be there in Florida. My kids needed a good education. At that time in Florida, the education system wasn't that great with the hurricanes and everything. So we packed everything up. We moved into the family home. I bought it out from my father and I started over again. And along the way, it took a lot of people helping us to keep us in this home. And I was very grateful for that. Um, like I said, there's a lot of kindness in the world if you want to see it. From there, I reopened back up the shop. I kept going, and then I rejoined back the Marine Corps Reserves. And my wife told me towards the end, hey, it's costing too much being in the reserves. You're paying for gas to travel 6 hours for a weekend. You're paying for your uniforms. Pretty much you're paying for everything, and it was now, instead of making extra money, it was costing money. So she says, "Why don't you go join the guard down the street?" And I did that up until I retired out of the military. And due to some medical issues, we shut down. But in between that stint running the business, I got two bachelor's degrees and a master's degree. And then during that stint of between the Marine Corps and the National Guard, I started really diving into my spiritual journey. You don't realize that everything you do is about taking a spiritual journey, finding your way home or back to God. This is the hardest part for me to explain to people, because unless you've taken the deep dive, kind of going down the road of Buddha, finding a tree and sitting under it, or uh, a room to sit in that's quiet. I started meditating during this time frame very heavily, sometimes 5, 6 hours a day. I would go sit down, meditate, get up, come for an hour, go sit right back down, start meditating until eventually I could sit there for long periods of time. It was somewhere in there that the magic happened. And I always say about the 3-year mark for me, where I separated from my body, and that was very interesting. I'm sitting there meditating, but I'm seeing myself meditating. From that point on, it was a game changer for meditating and getting into a I would say more like sacred space. At that point, I was able to start doing heavier readings, and I don't do so many heavy readings nowadays because of medical issues. I I will do them every once in a while for people, uh, but I primarily now focus in on doing YouTube videos and explaining how to get into these states, um, the value of it, the importance of being aware, and what it meant by me finding myself and coming to the understanding of I am. It brought me a lot of peace. I couldn't have gone through some of the medical issues that I went through without that meditation, that spirituality, the knowledge that I had from that. Um, it kept me from completely breaking. It made a dramatic difference. So, with that said, I've had two wonderful kids. One's in the Marine Corps, one's off to college, trying to get into the Air Force as an officer. They both have some college education. My wife's gotten her education. And now, me and my wife, we spend half the year here and half the year traveling to get out of the cold. So, along this journey, I want to share with you. I want to try my best to explain things to you that I have learned about spirituality and about other things of life, because at the end of the day, spirituality is not it's not something that you contain into one thing. It's a part of everything you do. You just don't realize it until you've been awoken to it, and you slow down to see that it's always been there, it's always a part of your life. With that said, if you have any questions, feel free to leave comments for me. Subscribe if you would like, give a thumbs up if you would like. And if you have information or a situation that you would like to share with the audience that watch this channel, uh, send me send me information. I will be more than happy to get back with you and to discuss it. With that said, I want everyone to take care of themselves and live every moment as if it's your last, while keeping in mind that you may be around tomorrow. Take care. Bye.